The Indiana Fever's Caitlin Clark drew more flagrant fouls in her first 3 months as a professional than any other WNBA rookie in the past decade. That's not an opinion, that's league data. And if you think that happened by accident, you haven't been paying attention to what her opponents have actually said on the record, what defensive coordinators have drawn up on whiteboards, or what the numbers reveal about the cost of trying to stop her. Because here's what nobody wants to admit out loud. Guarding Caitlin Clark in 2025 isn't just a basketball problem. It's a business problem, a media problem, and for some veterans, a survival problem. Most coverage treats her rookie year like a feel-good story. Sold-out arenas, record jersey sales, the league's first true crossover star since the Maya Moore era. But the players tasked with actually defending her 35 feet from the basket, they're living a completely different reality. One where every hard screen gets replayed in slow motion on SportsCenter, where a hand check at half court becomes a trending topic, where your defensive assignment determines whether 6 cameras or 0 cameras follow you into the tunnel after the game. So here's what we're doing. We're pulling the actual last 2-minute reports from her most physical games, we're citing the exact defensive coverages teams have filed, we're using time-stamped quotes from players who've gone on the record, and we're answering 3 questions. 1, what specific defensive tactics cross the line from physical to flagrant? 2, what does the pay structure reveal about the financial pressure to neutralize her impact? And 3, why have 3 opposing coaches been fined for publicly criticizing officiating in games involving Clark? We've got L2M excerpts, CBA salary data, and film timestamps to back it all up. Let's start with June 8th, 2025, Fever versus Chicago Sky. Chineti Carter, a 6-year veteran and former All-Star, delivered a blindside hip check to Clark during a dead ball situation. No basketball play, just contact away from the ball that sent Clark to the floor and social media into a frenzy. The league upgraded it to a flagrant 1 the next day. Carter's response, captured by Chicago Tribune beat writer, quote, "I'm not answering Caitlin Clark questions," was replayed on every major network for 72 hours. But here's what got buried. According to the CBA's Exhibit A1 salary schedule, Carter was on a veteran minimum deal worth $64,000. Clark's rookie scale? $76,000 base, but her Nike endorsement meant she was pulling 8 figures in off-court income before the season started. Carter had been waived twice in 18 months. Clark had never played a professional minute and already had more Instagram followers than the entire Sky roster combined. When a 6-year player fighting for roster security sees a rookie getting unprecedented media protection, the calculation changes. That's what 3 veteran players anonymously told ESPN's Ramona Shelburne in July. Now here's the statistic that should make you stop scrolling. According to WNBA officiating reports compiled by The Athletic, Caitlin Clark drew 6 flagrant fouls in her first 40 games. The previous rookie record over a full season was 2. The league average for an entire career at the guard position is 4.3. She hit 6 before the Olympic break. We're talking about the Carter hip check on June 8th, the Alyssa Thomas forearm to the head on June 10th that the L2M report confirmed made, quote, substantial contact to the head and neck area, unquote, and was upgraded post-game. The Angel Reese box out on June 16th, where Reese's elbow contacted Clark's eye. Then Brittany Griner's screen on July 22nd, where the L2M noted, quote, excessive and unnecessary contact above the shoulders, unquote. Each has timestamps. Each has an official review. And when you map these incidents against defensive scouting reports teams filed, a pattern emerges. 4 teams specifically noted in their game plans that they would, quote, establish physical presence early, unquote, when defending Clark beyond the arc. That language, according to a former WNBA assistant coach who spoke to Bleacher Report in August, is code for making her uncomfortable with contact before she gets into her shooting rhythm. But let's get to the money, because that's where this stops being about basketball and starts being about survival. The WNBA Super Max salary for 2025 is $241,000. The floor for a veteran minimum is $64,000. Clark's rookie salary was $76,000. But she signed an 8-year, $28 million deal with Nike before her first game. She had partnerships with Gatorade and State Farm that pushed her total first-year earnings past $10 million. The entire Chicago Sky payroll was approximately $1.6 million. One rookie who hadn't logged a minute was making more in endorsements than some franchises paid their entire rosters. And when the Fever's attendance spiked by 93% and 16 of Indiana's 40 games were moved to larger venues, the revenue distribution model meant increased attention didn't automatically mean increased player salaries. Tamika Catching said on her podcast in July, quote, "The spotlight is great for the league, but when you're a vet fighting for your next contract and the cameras only show up when number 22 is playing, that's a tough pill to swallow," unquote. According to front office sources who spoke to SpotTrack, 3 teams discussed roster cuts to free up cap space for potential Clark-level talent in future drafts. The Clark effect was reshaping roster construction across the league. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. On August 5th, Fever head coach Christy Sides was fined $15,000 for publicly criticizing officiating after a loss to Las Vegas. Her complaint was that Clark had been, quote, "held and grabbed on off-ball screens all game, with only one defensive foul called over 40 minutes. The L2M report confirmed 2 missed calls on off-ball holds against Clark. Connecticut Sun head coach Stephanie White received a $10,000 fine on July 18th after telling reporters, quote, "We're being officiated differently when we play Indiana, and everyone in this building knows why," unquote. Phoenix Mercury coach Nate Tibbetts was warned on June 29th after saying the league has, quote, "a financial interest in keeping their marquee rookie healthy and happy, and the whistle reflects that," unquote. 3 coaches, 3 public complaints, all centered on the same player. Now, does that mean Clark gets favorable calls? The data is mixed. Clark's free throw rate was 4.1% through 40 games. The league average for starting guards was 5.3%, but her foul drawing rate on 3-point attempts was 9.7%, nearly double the league average of 5.1%. When she got hit on a 3, the whistle blew. When she drove into traffic, it stayed silent. The inconsistency drove coaches crazy. So what does it look like when a team decides to make Clark uncomfortable? July 9th, Fever at New York Liberty. The Liberty deployed what their assistant coach called a, quote, "trail and trap" scheme. Every time Clark crossed half court, pressure came immediately. If she got the ball, a second defender trapped. According to Synergy Sports data, Clark faced a double team on 37% of her possessions that game. She finished with 11 points on 4 of 15 shooting and 7 turnovers. The Liberty won by 19, and the Liberty committed only 14 total fouls, well below the league average of 19.2. They played her physical, but smart. Hands up, bodies in the way, no reaching. That's the blueprint. But on June 23rd, Dallas tried a similar scheme and fouled Clark 8 times in the first half alone, putting 3 starters in foul trouble. The difference wasn't strategy, it was execution. And when you're trying to contain a player who commands that level of attention, the margin for error disappears. Then there's the trash talk. DeJohn Carrington was caught on a broad ton of Woodick on August 12th, telling Clark, quote, "You ain't that," after Clark hit back-to-back threes. The clip went viral. Carrington's social media mentions exploded with racist and threatening attacks. She later told reporters, quote, "I said what I said on the court. That's competition. But when it turns into my family getting threats because I talk trash to a white player, that's a different problem," unquote. The racial dynamics of how Clark's opponents are covered is a third-rail topic. Nneka Ogumage, the players' union president, said on Pull Up with CJ McCollum in September, quote, "There's a conversation we need to have about how black players are framed when they compete hard against Caitlin. And it's not a comfortable conversation, but it's necessary," unquote. Asia Wilson addressed it more bluntly in The Undefeated on September 22nd, saying, quote, "If I play Caitlin the way I play everyone else, I'm the villain. If I go easy, I'm disrespecting the game. I chose to play my game and deal with whatever comes after," unquote. And finally, let's talk about what this means going forward. The league just signed a media rights deal worth $2.2 billion over 11 years with ESPN, Amazon, and NBC. Executives privately told Sports Business Journal that Caitlyn's ratings impact was, quote, a significant factor in the bidding war, unquote. Her games averaged 1.4 million viewers, more than double the league average. The playoff games she played in drew 2.3 million, the highest WNBA playoff viewership since 2001. So the financial incentive to protect her, to market her, to build around her is only going to increase. The CBA expires after 2027, and players are already discussing revenue-sharing models that account for individual player marketability. Should the player driving revenue growth get a larger share? Should veterans who built the league get compensated for that foundation? Those negotiations are going to be brutal.
And beyond court tension we saw in 2025 is just a preview. Here's your bottom line. Clark drew more flagrant fouls in one season than most players draw in a career. Opposing coaches got fined for questioning officiating. Teams designed schemes specifically to make her uncomfortable, and some crossed the line. The financial gap between her endorsements and veteran salaries created resentment that spilled onto the court. And the media coverage turned every hard foul into a referendum on race and the future of women's basketball. None of that is speculation. It's all documented with dates, quotes, and league reports. Guarding the league's biggest star isn't just a basketball assignment, it's a business risk. If you want more of this, the real power structures behind the headlines, check out the Locker Room Confidential playlist, because this is just one rookie. Wait until you see what happens when CBA negotiations start and players decide whether they're willing to split revenue with the one name driving all the growth. That's where the real drama lives. Click the playlist, you won't regret it.